Good morning, everyone. It's almost afternoon, but good morning. This is Jackie Musime Kyuguru, aka JMK, and welcome to Real Talk. Yesterday was Father's Day. Happy Father's Day again to all the fathers who have actually made an impact on their children's lives and other people around them in the community that could call them father. I would actually like to talk about Father's Day, and I would like to talk about fathers today and what exactly is expected of them, or what is happening today, and what the Lord expects of them. I think number one, basically, what we need to look up is in our generation today. The first thing I think I need to talk about is men stepping up. Because so many stories come up, negativity, whereby it's more about the women are taking up the role of the men, of the fathers, which is quite saddening. We need to have men who walk with their children. We need to have men who are an example to their children. We need to have men who love their children. You know, sometimes it's very saddening that a dad thinks that because I'm paying the school fees, or I'm buying food in the house, or I'm paying the rent, that's enough. No, no, no. You need to walk with your children, talk to your children, and love your children. Being a father does not just mean being an ATM. Emotionally, your kids also need you. But in the midst of that, of you loving them and walking with them and talking to them, you need to also discipline them. But discipline them in a way that they feel loved. And the reason why you're disciplining them is for a particular reason, and they deserve that discipline. We need, as fathers, you need to teach them about God. You need to be a priest in their lives. You need to reach out to their hearts. You know, it's not just about the physical. It also comes down to the heart and the emotional being, whereby when a kid thinks about their dad, they emotionally have an attachment to that person. I know some men will hear this and mock this discussion, or say I want men to become sissies, or I want men to become soft. But no, love does not mean that you're soft. Walking with integrity and having the confidence to say that I was a father, or I am a father, is not being soft. You have to be a man of influence. Your children need to look at you and say, I want to be like my dad. When I grow up, I want to be like my dad. My dad has done A, B, C, D. I want to be like my father. Most men will live for themselves. They just care about themselves. As long as they've done the financial bit and they're happy, maybe with their boys or whatever, then it's done. You know, you'll never find time to sit down and have a conversation with your child. Ask them, what is going on? Is everything okay? How was your day? You know, did you have any challenges today? Do you want us to talk about stuff? You know, because most men leave that to the mothers. They think that that is a role of the women, and yet that is really not true. We need to be and focus on the Bible and be like the Father in heaven. Another thing that fathers need to understand is that there are certain other fathers who are struggling. And for example, if you're in the community of church, or the community of cell, or in the community of people, you'll know that there are certain men who are struggling. So men of God should always be able to help and pull up other men to become actual fathers, to become the best fathers in the world. Some men say that, oh, my dad was like this, or my dad was like that, or they give an excuse that they are like that because of generations, their ancestors. But as men who believe in the Lord, you need to be able to break the generational curses or what happened with your ancestors and be the right dad. If you had a dad who was polygamous, if you had a dad who didn't care for the children, if you had a dad who used to beat up his mom, or if you had a dad who basically did not care or did not love and it was all about money, you can change that. You can change that as a father and be a different father, a father that everybody would be proud of. Take up the responsibility to be a blessing and constantly bless your family. Open an altar, a family altar, as a father. You'll find that in most homes, it's the mother who talks to the kids. It's the mother who maybe has a family altar. It's the mother who actually understands the children individually, and which is not right. Remember that the fact that you have been made a father, immediately the minute that you've been made a father, you have a calling from God. The minute you have a child, you have a calling from God, and you need to use that calling. You can't fall asleep at the wheel and let it crash. You understand? You can't just watch your family go into turmoil or go into a mess and you're just sitting back and watching. Regardless of what your fathers couldn't do for you, we need to learn to mentor our children and tell them what real fathers are supposed to be like and how real fathers are supposed to behave with their families. Be the fathers that the Lord called you to be. Unfortunately, and I'll continue saying unfortunately, most women have taken up the role of the father, and it's sad. So when we look at our Father in heaven, because sometimes people say, oh, I don't have a dad, my dad passed on. May all your fathers who passed on rest in peace. There are some women, unfortunately, who lost their husbands and are widows, so the children don't have a father, so the women have to be a father and a mother. And then there are those single mothers who, because of the irresponsibility of the men, they have to bring up their children on their own. But at the end of the day, God cannot give us what we cannot handle. So there are certain scenarios that, a woman just has to be on her own, which is sad. But when we look at our Father in heaven, Jesus, God, we look at somebody who loves us. And basically, when I now talk about the qualities or the character of God, our Father, some people call him Papa. I actually love it when I'm in church and people say Papa, because it makes it more personal. It brings God, makes him really, really here. This is a person who loves us constantly, as in constantly. He does not waver. It's constant. He protects us as his children. He cares for us. He ensures we are safe. He gives us wisdom through his word and through other people. He provides for us. He never lets us lack. Never lets us lack. He's always faithful to our needs. He does not lie. He's not like man who lies. And he isn't fearful or scared to be around and to be there for his children, So as fathers, my pledge to you is that you come out and when we're celebrating Father's Day and we're always like, oh, happy Father's Day, and you see some men are actually excited and stuff like that, and they've actually not been fathers to their kids. The kids just decide that, what, okay, it's something that we have to do. But one thing I need to end with is that I would like to really thank somebody like my dad, because my dad has really been like a father to me. He has been there. He listens, he loves, he comforts, he rebukes, he disciplines, he he protects, and he protects me. I'm talking about myself. My siblings must be having the same sentiments, but he'll protect you from those who are, attacking you or whatever. And basically, he has provided for us until we all left the home. Still provides for my mom, and he's faithful as a dad. And one thing about him is he does not lie. He has integrity. He has like serious integrity. He does not lie, and he isn't fearful of what would happen, especially when it comes to his family or his wife. So I really thank my father for being an amazing, amazing, amazing father and an example to so many. So many people will be like, "Oh, Uncle George, thank you for being a father to us when we were in university and things like that." He was a father to so many people. It's amazing that whenever we're walking, or if I enter an office, someone will give me a testimony and say, "Oh, you know what, I entered the office of your dad when he was dean of students and I had a problem, and he went into his pocket and he helped me, and he actually did ask for payment back." So he has been a father to so many people. He has been an influence in a positive way to so many people, and that is the kind of father that all fathers should be. And for me, when I have these things of Father's Day, Mother's Day, I always have a reflection of like what kind of life our fathers living today. And I think we need to look into each one of ourselves and ensure that the coming year, the next time we celebrate Father's Day, maybe which will be June next year, we have become better fathers, we have become better people, and our children will see a difference and will be proud to call you daddy. So I just bless all of you. I ask the Lord to keep you. I ask the Lord to provide for you during this COVID time. And actually, this COVID time has been one of those moments that fathers should have really stepped up, because they've spent more time with their kids and more time at home. Unfortunately, we're hearing there's been more, fighting in the home and more violence and more quarrels and things like that, because fathers have basically not been used to being home. They've not been used to being, fathers in the house. So now this is a whole new thing for them. So, but it's a prayer. It's a constant prayer that we will make sure that the Lord comes between us, is the center of it all, and the God is the God in all the storms. And one message that has constantly been coming to me is God in the storm, God in the storm, because I think something that has been happening is that there's been so many storms because of this whole COVID-19. People are anxious, people are fearful, people are broke, people are going through a hard time. So there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of arguing, there's a lot of anxiety, and it's not a good time. But again, also we can look at it in the positive light and say this is the time that the Lord has given us to be together, to spend more time together, and to love him, to appreciate him, and to just focus on him. So God bless you all. I love you, and this is Real Talk. This is Real Talk. This is Real Talk.